Hey everybody, it's Mr. Hoin again, covering the essay that will be due on May 8th, which relates to the content on slavery and race relations. The first part of the assignment had you answering a series of, I think, 16 questions related to the Howard Zinn book chapter. This last part will include the Howard Zinn book chapter, as well as some additional material which you need to integrate into your essay. That's what this lecture is going to cover right now, how to write that essay. The four-paragraph essay has to answer the following question. What impact did slavery have on U.S. race relations and specifically Black Americans? The deadline, of course, is Friday, May 8th by midnight. I want to go over the requirements, which are spelled out in a Microsoft Word document that's attached to the assignment, but I want to go over that with you right now and specifically cover a couple of things that you need to keep your eye out for as you're doing this essay. In this essay, you must include a series of resources, the first of which is you must include 2 excerpts from the book chapter that you read from the first part of the assignment, which is the Slavery Without Submission book chapter by Howard Zinn. You must also include 1 to 2 references from a website which I have provided a link for in the essay instructions. This is a website that comes from, I think it's a university website, and it is a short history on the Jim Crow era of American history, which is the history that immediately follows the Civil War all the way up to 1954. You have to read that website, and you must include at least 1 to 2 references from that website somewhere into your essay. And the last requirement is including 1 to 2 references from the YouTube lecture that I gave for the first part of the assignment, which was covering that timeline of to better understand slavery's impact on U.S. race relations. So these are the things that must be integrated somewhere into your essay, all right? One of the most important things about writing a good essay, which is going to be critical for the rest of your high school years and certainly at the college level, is writing a good thesis statement. This is not easy. In fact, many students find this to be one of the more hard aspects of writing an essay. First of all, you need to understand what a thesis is. A thesis is a clear statement sentence that makes a historical claim and a point of view, which is then supported with evidence in your body paragraphs. That's what a thesis statement is. Your thesis almost always is the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. All right, that's the most customary place where it's located. Your thesis should hint at the content that you've written in your body paragraphs. For this particular essay, your body paragraph themes most logically lend themselves to be towards the social impact or the political impact of how slavery impacted U.S. race relations. So in other words, you're integrating the words social and political into your thesis statement. That's sort of the easiest way to sort of see how this thesis can apply to this essay. And just lastly, I want to emphasize to you that if you can't write a strong thesis statement by the time you graduate high school, college is going to be a major struggle for you. Writing papers at the college level is one of the most customary assignments that will be given to you. And if you can't do it by the time you get to college, college will be a struggle, if not a failure. One of the things I'm also going to require you to do in this essay is to write a strong title for your essay. This is a clever, engaging title that either hints or teases about something that's in your essay. It could be a word or a phrase within the paper. It could come from a quote. Like any good book or good movie, a good title sort of stimulates the reader's interest to sort of want to read more. One other note about your title here. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to try to come up with a title first. In fact, I would encourage you to write the essay and then come back to create a title once you're done. It will be a lot easier. Don't get hung up on trying to force yourself to come up with a clever title right out of the gate. All right, so this is an outline of what your essay looks like. And this is sort of a standard outline for most essays of this sort. The first paragraph, of course, is your introductory paragraph. And as described right here, which is, of course, on the written instructions on the Microsoft Word document, the first sentence of your introductory paragraph is known as your grabber sentence. Your grabber sentence really sort of should grab the reader's attention and encourage the reader to keep reading. And I know that puts a lot of pressure on you, and much like the title, I'm going to encourage you to save your grabber sentence until later. It'll come to you. Don't try to force yourself to write a good grabber sentence immediately. Get to the second part of the introduction, which is the background information. All right, the background information is one of the easiest parts of this introductory paragraph. What you're doing with your background information is providing the reader with a sort of general who, what, where, when, and outcomes of the topic which your paper is about. In this case, it's slavery and race relations. So the most customary background information that you're going to include here is going to be information about how long did slavery exist in America? What were the conditions of slavery? Where did slavery predominantly take place? These are the things that are sort of the straight background information that needs to set up for the reader the historical context that you're going to be writing about in more depth in your other paragraphs. The last sentence, of course, as I've already described, is your thesis statement. Please make sure that the last sentence of your introduction is your thesis. All right, paragraphs 2 and 3 are going to be your body paragraphs, and I want to go over a couple of things about your body paragraphs. Each paragraph should sort of address a unique subtopic of your main topic. And it helps, all of the information that's included in your body paragraph are going to support your larger thesis. And in this case, as I encouraged you to do, to include the social and political impact of slavery on race relations in the United States. Each paragraph must include direct references from the required sources to support your point of view. And it must include parenthetical citations, and I'll get to that by the end of this video. And most importantly, you must provide some personal insight, analysis, or interpretation of how the evidence that you've used in your body paragraph supports your thesis and the larger idea and main idea that you're trying to make. All right, that's really important. That's probably the hardest part of writing a good, strong body paragraph, is sort of demonstrating personal insight and analysis of the evidence that you've used. The last paragraph in this essay is going to be your conclusion paragraph, and most conclusion paragraphs are structured as follows. The first sentence of your conclusion paragraph is going to be a reminder to the reader of what your thesis originally was. You can either use the thesis straight up, although I encourage you to try to rewrite your thesis, to sort of paraphrase your thesis in a way that sort of just reminds the reader without maybe necessarily having to copy the same exact words. All right? What follows this paraphrasing of your thesis in your conclusion paragraph is a reminder to the reader of what the main points were in each of your body paragraphs. In this case, you have 2 body paragraphs, so you should provide the reader with 2 reminders, kind of a summary, a quick summary sentence of what the main idea of your body paragraphs were about. And then the last sentences of your conclusion paragraph are very, very important. I'm going to be looking very, very closely at everyone's last sentences of your essay. The last sentences of your conclusion must address the bigger historical question of why does your thesis matter in the year 2020? In this particular case, the overall idea of, and the overall prompt of the essay is about how slavery impacted race relations in the United States. How does that impact our current situation in 2020 regarding race relations? I tried to make that point in the timeline lecture that I gave you, which is that the reason why we still have racial tensions in the United States is very much as a result of hundreds of years of slavery and discrimination and as an oppression towards the black race. All right, so try to make that connection in your closing sentences of your essay. I want to talk about citations right now. The first thing about citations is that all teachers are going to have different requirements for their papers. When you get to the college level, a professor will be very, very clear about what their expectations are about how they want their citations. And it's going to change from teacher to teacher. So I know that is a little confusing, but that's just the way of the world. For this particular essay, I want to see a separate page at the end of your essay, which is a bibliography of all of the sources that you've used. And those sources need to be done in a very, very specific way, in a style that is sometimes referred to as the Chicago format. And there are all kinds of different formats. For this essay, I want to try to have you use the Chicago format. And you can use a whole bunch of citation web applications that are available for free online. The most common ones are something called citationmachine.net. There's another one called easybib.com. These are ways where you can actually type in the information of your source and then press a button and boom, out pops a Chicago formatted citation that you can put on your bibliography. Make sure to turn off your ad blocker when you use these citation web applications, and also use manual mode. Don't use the auto fill-in mode. The manual mode is a much preferred method to do that, where you're manually typing in the various information into the fields and then pressing the button to get your result. One of the other things I'm going to require you to do for this essay is also to do parenthetical citations. And I've given you an example here of what a parenthetical citation looks like using one of the sources that might show up in this essay. Here's what a parenthetical citation looks like as an example. I'm going to read it out loud. And this would be written into one of my body paragraphs. In 1852, Frederick Douglass expressed his anger at America's Independence Day when he said, comma, quotation mark, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity, period, close quote, parentheses, Zinn, comma, publication year, close parentheses. This right here in blue is your parenthetical citation. And anytime that you're going to be using a direct quote from a source, I want to see a parenthetical citation. Typically, a parenthetical citation has the author first, followed by a comma, followed by the publication year. If the publication year is not given, based on the source that you use, you only use the author, or you use the first 1 to 2 words of the article as it is indicated in your bibliography page. All right. Citations are hard, but they're a critical skill to learn when you write a paper like this, which is one of the reasons why I am requiring you to do it here. All right. Couple of things as I end this particular lecture on writing this essay. I'm going to be really, really, really hard on your first draft that you turn in. I guarantee no one is going to get a grade higher than a B. However, if you choose to rewrite your essay incorporating my comments and corrections, I will give you the higher adjusted grade. All right, that's really important, and this is optional. So let's say that I failed you with your first draft, which is, please don't be surprised if a lot of people fail this first draft. If you fail the first draft, you can either keep your failing grade or you can rewrite the essay, including my comments, and then I will give you the higher grade. And if that means that it's an A quality essay on your rewrite, you get the A and the F goes away, all right? And your rewrite is optional and it will be due by May 22nd, all right? But your the overall essay, the first draft, is due by Friday, May 8th at midnight. All right, that's it. I hope all of you continue to be well. Essay writing is an essential academic skill. As I said, that's going to carry you through your high school years as well as into college. You have to get better at it, which is one of the reasons why I'm having you do this particular essay. If any of you have questions, you've got to contact me or join any of the live team sessions to go through those questions to make sure that you understand what I'm looking for. That's it. Take care. Be well.